Do you find yourself feeling lost when you're reading the Bible? Like you understand what the words are saying, but for some reason you're not seeing the results that God says you should have? Do you often struggle with understanding what it means when He says He's going to reward you? Well, today that's what we're going to talk about. Is Hebrews 11:6. The verse says, "Without faith it is impossible to please God. For those who come to Him must believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him." What does that really mean? Without faith. Well, the problem becomes this. We often think that we have faith, and on a level, we do. The Bible says that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can tell this mountain to move and it'll move. But what does that really mean? And how come when I tell a mountain to move, it doesn't move? Let's talk about that. And let's go really in depth as to why it is that we're not seeing the results that we want to see. Let's first begin by discussing the word faith. What does faith mean? You see, one of the biggest problems with the teachings of today is that faith is kind of made to be this thing that you have, and you just happen to be waiting on God to bring something about and to make something happen. And every now and then you'll see a success, but it's not consistent over and over and over again. And that's really what people are looking for is how do I have those consistent results over and over and over and over again? But other times I don't. What I want you to understand about faith is this: it's not a state of being, it's a state of action. So many of you have taken the time to watch the how videos and to understand a little more about what how is means. And how is about how to do something, how to make things happen within the word of God, how to stand on what God has said and to be able to move forward. And one of the things that we discussed is that we are made in the image of God. And so when Hebrews 11:6 says, those who come to him must believe that he is. What that is right there means is that he's real, he exists, he's physical. You can tangibly touch him through the ideas and activities and things that he gives you. So we take the understanding that we're made in his image, which means that we have the ability to imagine, to create, to develop anything we want to see in our life. And we plant those seeds. So let me give you an example. Let's say that we have a vision that our family is going to come back together. But the family today is in such disarray that it doesn't even look like that could happen. What are some of the ways we would begin to plant seeds? Number one, we would start opening doors for conversation. That's a seed planted. Number two, we would make time to sit down and jot a note that says, "Hi, hope you're doing well." Whether that note is in writing or through a text message, you don't ask a question, you just make a statement. "Hope you're doing well." And you do this until those seeds begin to develop. And sometimes they will grow and develop into nasty fruit. And people will come and say ridiculous things like, "What do you want? Why are you reaching out to me?" Those kind of things. They'll do that. That's just who people are. And when you get into this realm of perception, which is my least favorite word, because there's nowhere in the Bible does God talk about perception. Things are very black and white in the Bible, and that's why I like the book so much. Because perception is always based on a lie. Always based on a lie. It's based on my belief of your intention. And if I am looking at my belief and I'm basing your intention on my belief, what I'm doing is I'm automatically setting you up for failure. The faith that we are demonstrating is by planting those seeds. It's by letting people go through what they're going to go through and leaving them to be while they go through it. You will answer some things, you'll leave some things alone. So how do you know what to answer? If somebody comes to you and says, "What do you want?" I already told you in the message what I want. Hope you're doing well. I don't need to respond to that. I just leave that alone. That's it. Some people send a happy face, some people do whatever, but the job there is not to encourage conversation, it's to leave them with something to think about. Following me? Next, when you understand that God is, then there are certain things that you also understand about who God is. And here's what that is: He is always, always for you. When you understand who God is, then the one thing you understand is this: He is always, always for you. He's not against you. The reason we often think that He's against us is because we don't see the results we desire to see. The problem with that is that sometimes what we desire is a problem. So, if I have a friend who has a husband, and I'm bringing this to you because I just dealt with this situation this past week, and her husband and I have an attraction. No, absolutely not. You walk away from that so far and so fast, because if you don't, you bring about your own demise. You can't destroy somebody else's life and think that God's blessing will exist on that. It doesn't work that way. That is not a demonstration of faith. That's a demonstration of what he would call sorcery or rebellion. You know not to mess with or covet thy neighbor's wife or husband. And then you go and do it. And you're like, well, I don't understand why it didn't work. Really? I'm sorry. Where does the confusion lie with that? Maybe in the fact that you went after something that wasn't yours to begin with. Maybe in the fact that you did not leave room for the couple to actually work things out. He was going to leave anyway. You don't know that. And if he was going to leave, why would you want him to leave with you? Because in the end, what he did to her, I promise you, he's going to do to you. They don't suddenly find someone that they can't leave and they can't live without. No, that's not how those guys work. Because what that is a demonstration of is a lack of integrity. And when they lack that level of integrity, they're not going to get it back. It doesn't miraculously appear. Your sunshine is not so great that now all of a sudden they can't live without you. No, no, it doesn't work that way. And I know that that's hard for some of you to understand, but you cannot say that you are aligned with the Bible when you live your life in that way. Faith is about actively pursuing that which you desire the outcome to be. And if I truly desire the outcome to be something phenomenal, then stepping into something negative doesn't bring about greatness. It only brings about destruction. So, the reason a lot of us aren't seeing the results that we want to see with the faith that we think we have is because we're living our life in a way that's contrary to what the right thing to do is. Let me tell you about a young man who's a client of mine. He was getting ready to go through a divorce, and I want you to understand something. There is never a time that a marriage has to end in divorce. Never. It ends in divorce when one or both parties are unwilling to release what they think they want. If you are willing to do what the Bible actually tells you to do, your marriage doesn't have to end. It only ends because he is too proud to do the right thing. So this man happens to be someone a lot of people know. And so he does TV interviews and things like that. He went on live television and he spoke ill of his wife and her family. And then had the audacity to sit in my office and say, well, I prayed, but it didn't work. Now, did you think that getting on national television and talking about your wife and her family was going to bring the two of you back together? You see, if we do things, like I just said, that are contrary to what the Word of God tells us, we're not going to get the results that God tells us we're going to get. We can pray all day and all night, but if we don't stop talking against that which we claim to want and acting against that which we claim to want, we're never going to get it. It doesn't happen. And so there he was, alone again. His wife gone, his kids gone, and now it's time for him to move on to another woman. But the problem is that at the end of this life, whether you believe in the Father or not, you're going to answer for that. His actions brought about exactly what he wanted. And you see, the big problem is that we aren't honest with ourselves. Let me tell you the number of times I get people in my office who want to start giving me all these reasons why they are slowed down or what's hindering them or what's going on. And I say, okay, we're not going to go there. Let's look at some things. And they get angry. You want to know why they get angry? Because they think, well, she didn't even care to hear. Let me explain to you why I don't care to hear and why God doesn't care to hear. Because your excuses will always be based off of the lie you believe about yourself. There's never a time that you believe amazing things about yourself that you come up with an excuse. The statements you make, the questions you ask, the way you pursue things all change when you actually realize the power that you hold inside of your hand. Your God given right to be successful naturally. That's at the core of who you are. When God says in Hebrews 11:6, without faith, it is impossible to please him. For those who come to him must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. One of the things of believing that he is understanding how he made you. He made you to touch everything you want to touch and succeed in everything you want to succeed in, but it begins by overcoming what Dr. Myron Golden calls the identity. When you begin to let go of the lies that you believe that have been fed to you from childhood, that developed as a result of experiences you had, then you begin to see consistent results from the Father time after time after time after time. And you begin to understand that not knowing how you're going to make it happen is secondary to the thought and understanding and knowledge that you are going to make it happen. If I know that I need new shirts for work and I'm struggling to figure out how to pay for them, the one thing I can rest assured is that I am designed to create income. If I am designed, and I know that I am designed, I know, I'm talking down in the core of your being. This isn't a head knowledge and you can't fake it. So you can't process it in your head and pretend I got it. It doesn't work. You will have inconsistent results every time. It'll work one time, it'll fail the next. It'll work the other time, and it'll fail the next. And that's what you will live with over and over and over again. Because here's where the part of the reward comes. If you believe that God is, if you understand that he is the creator of you and everything you see, that he designed you a very specific way to be able to accomplish everything you need to accomplish, everything you want to accomplish, and that it is through that faith, that belief that he is, that's where your faith gets the power. Your faith is, God, I know you're real, and I know you designed me to be a success, and I know that you don't lie, and I know you don't create junk. That understanding is what blows open the rewards. Because now when you put your hand to that plow, you don't have to look back. Now you're looking at the line, you're looking straight ahead. And because you're looking straight ahead, voila, now you start seeing consistency in how you get your results. It's a beautiful thing when you begin to live it. But until that day that you take it out of your head and put it into your gut, I'm talking about so deep in your stomach, nothing stops you. Nothing. You won't see the results. because there's a problem with your faith. That's where you have to begin to overcome the doubt. You see, we doubt what we can't see. Let me explain to you something. You want to know why the world has gone out of its way to destroy the magic of the world, for lack of a better word? Santa Claus has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas. The Easter Bunny has nothing to do with Easter, but these are things that kids got to grow up with and have fun with. It allowed them to use their imagination. And the things that the world has created are all things that take away your ability to imagine and to hope. And the thing that they knew is that when they started taking away and filling you with iPhones and all of this, that the masses would become so addicted to these things, they would stop thinking for themselves. And the moment they would stop thinking for themselves, guess what? Now they're controllable. So what did they do? Let me tell you what they do. They came up with 5G. You want to know why they came up with 5G? Because now they control your phone. Do you get to choose whether or not your phone updates? I know on mine, I don't. And it's quite frustrating. So it becomes a question of, okay, it's time to start moving away from technology as it is. You can have a cell phone, it can be a flip phone. I don't need to check my email on my phone. I don't need a bunch of stuff blowing up. I can use just a regular Canon, Nikon, Olympia camera to do any of the videos that I need to do. I don't have to have a phone. You can still call me on a flip phone. Then you have to talk to me. In controlling you and destroying your ability to believe in the things that don't see, in taking away your power, they are working to make you dependent. And it's going to take you looking at this for what it is, stopping your emotion, stopping your feelings, and getting into what's really happening. Because when you understand what's really happening, now you know how to fight it. Any other time, you got nothing to stand on. That's why they wanted to kill the Bible. Because when you understand that God is always for you and that your reward comes in knowing who He is and understanding that that faith is shown by knowing who He is. Not, oh, I know God. No, knowing. It's a fire. I'm talking a literal fire that burns inside of your stomach. And it's an all consuming thing. And whatever it is you're going for, you just have this drive and this power. And you're just like, imagine every Avenger movie you've ever seen. When they get to that point and all this stuff is moving against them and they're moving and they're moving and they're fighting that system and they're going through and they're going through. That's the fire that burns inside of you when you genuinely know that God is who He is. And it's because of that fire that the rewards just begin to fall from the sky. They fall. I'm talking fall. Things that you have never, ever thought you would ever be able to overcome. Suddenly, boom, you're walking through them like it's nothing. La 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 la. It's just another day in the park. People are coming at you. Daggers are coming at you. Every now and then a dagger will hit you and you'll go, whoa, like, where did that come from? But you're all right. And you just keep it moving and you just keep it moving and you keep going. Some people come into your life for a moment. Some people come into your life for a lifetime. And you're like, okay, I gotta keep it moving. Thank you for the time we got to share together. Now it's separate. Okay, good. And you keep it moving. And that's because you know that the Father has you. And because of that attitude, your faith is unstoppable. You keep planting seeds. You open this door and then you open that door and you plant here and you plant there and you plant there and you plant there. And before you know it, poof, something pops up. And what happens? Voila. There you go. That's how it happens. You don't have to believe me. It's a biblical principle. Remember, I don't have to believe in gravity. Doesn't change the fact that if I roll off my bed in the middle of the night, it's about to hurt because I'm not floating up. I'm falling down. What I'm sharing with you tonight is a principle. You don't have to believe me. Go stand on it. Go watch it work and then watch it take away your breath. Because all of a sudden, the things that you don't know, that you've never experienced, suddenly start becoming realities. And they don't become realities once, they don't become realities twice. They become realities over and over and over and over and over again. And that's how it works. Are people going to talk bad about you? Of course they are. People are always jealous of what they don't understand. And instead of wanting to get to know it, they would rather do their best to destroy you. And that's really what it's about. It's their own insecurity because they don't want to understand that insecurity is a choice. It's not a necessity. You don't have to live a life of insecurity. You want to live a life of insecurity. You don't have to live a life that's below what you were designed for. You want to live a life that's below what you were designed for. And understand this, not everybody wants that. There are some people out there who just haven't figured out how to cross that threshold. Those people have that fire. And you know what they're doing? They're searching. They're always searching. They're always listening. They always have their eyes open and their ears open, and they're always looking for the way out of whatever the situation is. They know there's an answer. I just gave you your answer. And don't ever forget that I don't teach you anything that I didn't have to learn the hard way. I know what it's like to be in that position where you're hurting and you're struggling and you can't figure out why the results are not matching up. You're not understanding what that faith looks like. Well, I was told to have faith. I have faith. I fast. I do all these things. What am I missing? It's that you're not planting the seeds. That's what it is. No, don't sit back there and roll your eyes. I saw you roll your eyes. I'm saying to you, plant the seeds. Here are the seeds. I'm going to give you the answer. Whatever it is you're working on, when you allow yourself to plant seeds, your creativity is working. Sit back and look at the situation. Flip over that coin. If one side of that coin is saying this can't work, the other side of that coin is saying, oh, this is going to work. Well, if there's another side that's saying this is going to work, what is it that you're lacking? And that's where you go plant your seeds. If you need to bring in a few investors to your business, plant the seeds and start talking to people. If you need to go for a loan, sit down with bankers that you bank with, or maybe even some that you don't know, and start planting those seeds and see who's going to pick it up. Because one of them is going to pick it up, and you plant seeds until you get the answer that you want to hear. And the faster you need to get it done, the faster you better plant those seeds, because one of them is going to develop. One of them is going to blossom, but it's up to you to do the work. But before I go, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and the notification button. Also, make sure you share this with a few of the people that you know. Let it be a blessing to them as much as it was for you. I'll see you next week.